Hello and welcome to today's webinar. My name is Joe Hupp and I'll be your presenter today. First of all, I just want to thank you for joining us and hopefully it will be well worth your time. I believe it will. But today we're going to cover off-page factors with regards to SEO. Now, if you remember the intro to SEO video, if you haven't watched it yet, by the way, I'll show you here in just a second where you can access that. But what I want to take you through today is the off-page factors specifically. Now, if you remember from that intro to SEO video, there are three main categories of factors that Google looks at to determine how to rank your website. And again, those are on-page factors, or things that you control on your website, off-page factors, and then panda penguin factors. And that's another webinar that we'll do as well, is on panda penguin factors. Today, though, we're specifically talking about off-page factors. Now, just a quick little review of off-page factors. Now, before I actually get into that, let me just show you where we're at as far as on the website. So if you give me a second here, I'll bring it up, and you'll see that if you go to websitewebinartraining.com, okay, and it will actually look something like this. If you come to the home page, then up here in the top right, you're going to click on SEO and marketing. And then from there, you'll be able to see all of the videos, or excuse me, the webinars that we do with regards to SEO. And you can get those scheduled right from here. Now you'll notice there's a couple steps to do beforehand, and I believe we've reviewed this on a previous webinar, but just in case, step one is you want to watch these videos just kind of walking you through, but that intro to SEO video is right here. And so that one's really important. If you haven't watched that, I highly recommend you go watch that, because that's going to actually show you the overall process of SEO and how it kind of works. Then here in step 2, you'll notice you've got on-page factors, off-page, a question and answer webinar, and then panda penguin factors. And these are the things that you'll want to make sure you get scheduled for if you haven't done so yet. And then right down here you can see the available dates and times, okay? And the different webinars. So that's the webinar series there. Now, just to review off-page factors, there are two main off-page factors that we look at. And the first one is Google PageRank, okay? And then the second one is anchor text backlinks. Now, both of these actually have to do with link building, and we'll talk about that here in just a little bit. But that's kind of the factors that we're looking at as far as how to rank our business, okay? So let's continue on then here. So the first factor then we said is Google PageRank. Well, Google PageRank is taken from Google's words, is Google's view of the importance of this page. And you might recall us teaching you that if you think about Google and SEO as a popularity contest, then you're going to do pretty good. If you think about how and what it took to be popular in high school, I know some of you are saying I'm trying to never remember that ever again, but if you go back to high school and what it took to be popular, you'll go back and realize that that's kind of how Google looks at everything. The more popular you are, the higher you show up in the search results. And it makes sense. I mean, if you think about it from Google's perspective, you have to understand that Google's whole business is teaching people or showing the best results, on that first page in Google. And if you and I go to Google and get poor results, then we're not going to keep using Google. So that's their whole business, is to make sure the best websites show up when we do a search. So it makes sense. So again, Google PageRank is Google's view, as they say, Google's view of the importance of this page. So it's on a scale of 0 to 10, 10 being the highest, 0 obviously being the lowest. Now, if we were to look and actually look at all the PageRank 10 websites out there on the web, you'll notice there's not a lot. So let's actually go and let's pull up in Google. Let's do PageRank 10 websites. Let's just do a search for that. And we'll come right here and you'll see Search Engine Genie lists the top page, or the only PageRank 10 websites. And again, 10 is the absolute best that you can get. Now, one clarification. Google's PageRank applies to every single page on the internet, not website. So that means every page in your own website could have a unique page rank from that 0 to 10 scale. So let's think about that for a second. How many pages are there on the web? Well, there's literally trillions of web pages. I mean, Amazon alone has over 2 billion pages in their website. And again, this is a page level score, not a site level score. So out of these trillions and trillions of web pages on the internet, this is all the PageRank 10 websites or pages on the internet. You've got the U.S. government's website, okay, USA.gov, Adobe, their reader, and Adobe Flash. They actually have 2 pages with the PageRank 10. United States Department of Health and Human Services, HHS.gov, Milbian, okay, which is a Chinese government website. So you can see right here the URLs. Social bookmarking sharing budget button widget, which is Add This, okay, which is owned by Google. Europeana, EUA, Universitas, Twitter has a PageRank of 10, United Nations, and then Add This, which is very similar to this. It's just a different URL, but the same website. So we've got 12. If you were counting, there are 12 pages out of trillions that have a PageRank of 10. So realistically, what's the likelihood that you and I are going to ever get a PageRank 10 unless we decide to buy the country of China or something like that, right? So it's just not going to happen. And that's okay. Our goal should be, well, before I tell you what our goal should be, let's take a pie chart and let's take a look at what it looks like if we were to break down all the web pages. You'll notice that it's very, very small. There's your sliver for PageRank 10, PageRank 9, 8, 7, 6s, 5s, 4s, 3s, 2s, and 1s. Everybody else in here, there's zeros, okay? And again, right from Google's CEO, both of the founders of Google have said on multiple occasions that they believe that the majority of content on the web is junk. And this PageRank score really tells us that they're not just saying that they actually mean it, because they again give you a score of your page of how important it is compared to other pages on the web, right? So you'll see here that the vast majority have a PageRank of 0, which is meaning just pretty much worthless. Okay, so let's figure out, well, what is it that we can do to improve our PageRank then? Okay. So let's take a look. There's 3 specific things that you can do to improve your PageRank. The first being quantity. Okay, and what I mean by that is quantity of links. So if we have our website here and all these other websites and they're linking to us, okay, the more that we have linking to us, the higher our PageRank goes. And again, if you go back to thinking about this like a popularity contest, there's really 2 main strategies in high school to be popular. Number 1, you had everybody in the school like you, and that made you popular, right? Number 2 was to find the most popular kid in school and be friends with them, and automatically by default you were popular. So the quantity thing here is getting everybody to like you. The more websites that link to your website, the more popular you are. Now, as a caveat to that, it's always best if you can get sites that are related to your niche and industry to link to you than if they're not related. We'll still take some that are not related, but we want to make sure that we have as many that are related as possible. But we want to have volume here. The second factor is quality. Well, let's take a step back and think, well, how do you think Google determines quality? Well, they're going to determine quality based on the PageRank of that site that is linking to you. So you'll look in this scenario from A to H, these different sites linking to us, which is the most valuable. And in this scenario right now, website G is the most valuable link back to ours. How come? Because they have the highest PageRank. They have an 8 out of 10 PageRank score. Okay? So that's the second factor, is the quality of websites that link to you. And then finally is uniqueness. Okay? Now, in the scenario of uniqueness, I'm teaching you this just to be thorough. I don't want you to get hung up on this, because if you do, you forget about the quantity and quality aspect. Uniqueness means that if they're linking to you in your industry and only you. Let me give you an offline example of this. let's say that I was in a basketball tournament, right? And I'm playing basketball, and LeBron James just happens to be at that basketball tournament just watching in the stands. After the game, after the tournament, they go to LeBron James and they say, "Hey, what do you think about the tournament and whatnot?" And then he says to the news crew, he says, "You know what? Joe Hupp is one of the best basketball players I've seen in a long time." Well, what is that going to do to my career? That's going to be huge. The best, arguably the best basketball player right now on the planet says that I'm a good basketball player, so therefore that makes me by default a good basketball player because somebody who's very authoritative, okay, says that. Now, if he also says, you know, Joe Hupp's one of the best basketball players that I've seen in a long time, and so is this person, that person, and this person, well, guess what? That's still a really good boost for my self-esteem slash my, the value as a basketball player, right? It's huge for me, okay? My career as a basketball player. But it's also good for those three other players. It's still good for me, but it's not as good as if he would have just said me. Does it make sense? Right? So it's saying here in this example here with website G, yeah, they're an authority figure because they've got a page rank of 8. Google deemed that they're a good site. And G links to me, but they also link to H, I, and J here that are, my competitors. Well, it's still great link for me, but it's also now good for them as well. So now what becomes the best link in this whole matrix? Well, it becomes F, because now F has a page rank of 7 and they're only linking to me in my industry and no one else. Therefore, Google's going, hey, website F thinks that Joe's website is the best in this industry. Otherwise, they would have linked to H, I, and J as well, or other sites. That's kind of how it works. So with these factors, these three factors, as we continually build links and look for high quality links, and hopefully we'll get some unique ones in there, our page rank is going to continue to increase. Now, your goal, what I believe your goal should be, is anywhere between a 3 to a 4 page rank. That's what you should shoot for, about a 3 to a 4. Okay, and that's fantastic, right? It's going to take you some time. It's not going to happen overnight, and that's okay. But you need to continually build links to be able to do that. Now, occasionally I'll hear somebody say, "Well, Joe, SEO. I've heard that link building isn't important anymore." And all I've got to say to that is they're wrong, right? Here's a number of reasons why I say that. Number one is Google did an experiment the early part of 2014. And in that experiment, they started showing search results that were ranked purely based on other factors besides the number and quality of backlinks you had. And they ran that test for about 3 months, and it was just a huge failure. According to Google, they came out and said it was a huge failure. So the fact that links help us determine relevancy, that doesn't look like it's going away anytime soon. Now, if it does, we'll keep you abreast to that. We'll make sure you know about it. But my guess is that for the foreseeable future, it's not going away. A lot of people will come and tell you, oh, link building's not important because they're trying to sell you on their services, and that's the problem. Links are absolutely valuable. Now, are all links created equal? Of course not. That's why I've got it in matrix here, as quality is important. In fact, if I had to choose between quantity and quality, I'd go after quality. Instead of building hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands of links, I'd focus on really high quality websites and hopefully unique ones that could link back to mine, because that's going to trump quantity. But if we can't find only high quality links, then we're going to want to get a good mix there. Now, here's the other caveat to that, as if I haven't thrown enough wrenches in this for you. Well, your overall arching principle and rule should be it needs to appear natural. Let me repeat that. It needs to appear natural. And what do I mean by that? That means if I go out and I am manually building links back to my website, okay? If I go find only super high page rank websites, is that going to look natural? The answer, of course, is going to be no. Of course it doesn't look natural, right? Google's going to know that I'm the one kind of facilitating that. And Google doesn't like that. If you ever have to answer to Google, if they say, hey, Joe, why are you doing these activities? And your answer is, oh, so I could show up well in your search results. That's not a good answer. Okay? The answer should be, it's good for the users. Right? We build links for SEO value, but we also do it to generate traffic to our website. And so your answer should be, oh, because I'm trying to drive more traffic to my website, and that's the reason why we build links. Knowing good and well that we're doing it for traffic, absolutely, but we're also doing it to boost our SEO value. So what do I mean by that? What does that mean? Well, that means occasionally I may want to throw in a PageRank 0 there every once in a while, because that's going to appear more natural. You know, somebody who just started a brand new blog, who found our website and links to an article on our website or links to a page in our website. If they're brand new, they're going to have a PageRank 0, but that's okay. That's very, very normal to have happen. And so we even want to facilitate that to make it look and appear more natural. All right, so those are your three things with regards to PageRank and improving your PageRank. PageRank absolutely is one of those things that Google looks at and uses to determine where you show up in the search results. Are you going to show up on the first page? You're going to show up on the last page. That's, one of the factors they look at. All right, the second off-page factor is what we call anchor text. Well, what is anchor text? Anchor text is the text that we use in a link. So in this example, the word click here, the phrase click here, is the anchor text. It's the clickable text used in a link. Well, why does this matter, right? Well, Google actually looks at the words or phrases used as anchor text to determine how relevant you are to a particular keyword or keyword phrase. Okay? So for example, if somebody links to me using the term food storage, Google's looking at that going, well, why would you link to Joe's website using the term food storage unless Joe's website talked about food storage? Of course, right? Google's going, hey, that doesn't make any sense. Why would you do that? Okay, so why does it matter? Well, Google uses that to determine relevance. And that's the reason why link building is so powerful, is because Google determines how relevant you are, one of the ways, through anchor text. Now, you easily, and those of you who get this, right, are going, well, Joe, that would be very easy to manipulate. And the answer is, yeah, it is very easy to manipulate. That's why it's extremely, excuse me there, I had a brain aneurysm, I guess, couldn't talk for there for a little bit. But you need to vary up your anchor text, okay? And I've been preaching this for 10 plus years, that you're not supposed to keep the text in your anchor text exactly the same. So here's what the strategy used to be, and I'm not going to admit whether I did this or not, but you would go out and build a ton of links back to a particular page on your website using the exact same anchor text in every single one of those links. Well, that's very obvious. That breaks the rule of appearing natural, okay? So Google, with its Penguin and Panda updates, mainly the Penguin on this one, has now issued a penalty for over-optimization of anchor text. You'll now get a penalty if you over-optimize your anchor text, right? So what does that mean? Well, if I build 100 links and all 100 links use the exact same phrase, let's say food storage in this example, I'm going to get penalized for that because that's not natural. Google knows that I am trying to manipulate their search results, and I'm going to get dinged for that and bumped off that first page with really no chance of getting on that first page until I clean up my anchor text. Okay? So how should we do this? Well, about 10% of the links that you generate should use the main keyword. So for example, if my main keyword is food storage, that's a keyword phrase, right? Then I would want about 10% of my links to be using the phrase food storage. Okay? Then about 20% would be main keyword variation. So year supply of food, food storage for 1 year, emergency food storage, 1 year supply of food, those types of things, okay? Because that's virtually the same meaning, if not the exact same meaning in some instances, with just some extra words. But it's obviously a variation. That's normal, right? Somebody who might link to my site from their blog, instead of using food storage, might use emergency food storage. So it appears very natural. And then the final 70% should just be some variation of anchor text. Most of those should be branded anchor text, and that's okay, but you need to vary that up. So for example, the phrase click here, or using your URL, right? And there's several different ways you can use your URL. You'll notice here it's just domain name, http://domainname.com, www.domainname.com, just domainname.com. You could put a / at the end here. Those are all different variations of the URL, and those actually count as different anchor text. You could use more info, find out more, learn more. All those are different variations of anchor text, okay? And so the idea here is as we build links back to our website, that's improving our page rank. But when we have an ability to use anchor text, we want to change up that anchor text and vary it. Because again, Google uses the keywords or keyword phrases in the anchor text to determine relevancy. So if we wanted to rank for the term food storage, we would try to get links using the phrase food storage. 10% of the time would use that exact phrase. 20% of the time would use variation of that, and the remaining 70 would just be some variation, my domain name, different things like that. Okay, so let's take a look at an example here. Before I do that, let me just show you what the HTML code looks like to be able to do anchor text. This is the HTML code. You've got what we call carriage returns, href equals parenthesis domainname.com, close carriage return. Anchor text goes there, and then the closing of the HTML link tag. Okay, and that's what it looks like. Now let's take a look at an example, and I've got a screenshot of this, but let me actually just take you to Yahoo, and let's go live to it so you can see it on Yahoo. If we were to go to Yahoo here, and before I do this example, I need to point out that I am not trying to make any political statements whatsoever, okay? I am just showing this because it's a very valid example. But let's go in here and let's type in miserable failure, okay? Now, when we come into miserable failure, here's the search results right on the front page of Yahoo for the term miserable failure. Now you'll see it says George W. Bush, the White House. Well, that means that Yahoo must hate George Bush, right? No, not at all. In fact, what it is the fact that Google, because it started with Google, and you'll notice even right here it says Google bomb. That's what we call this, is Google bombing. Here's what happened. It showed up on the first page of Google when you did a search for miserable failure. Well, Google got extremely embarrassed by this because BBC News, not even here in the United States, did a study, or actually a news report that said, hey, Google hates George Bush. When that's not the case at all. What it was their algorithm. What had happened is millions and millions of political blogs all got together and linked to George W. Bush's official blog. Let me go ahead and click on it. So we're at the official whitehouse.gov. So it's not a prank, right? This is the official whitehouse.gov website. So millions and millions of bloggers got together, linked to this exact URL right here, using what phrase? Well, the phrase miserable failure, of course, and therefore Google found all these very high page rank, high authority websites, all linking to George Bush's official biography page using the term miserable failure. Therefore, they said, hey, well, that means this page must be relevant to the term miserable failure. And that's how it worked. It wasn't any political views. It wasn't anything manual. It was all done through their software. And that's what we're talking about here. How do we use that to our advantage? Again, we build links using anchor text back to our websites, and that's how it works. Okay. Now, for those of you who care about this, the Republicans then retaliated, and you'll notice that right here, President Obama is also on the first page for the term miserable failure. So that was their retaliation. They also had Jimmy Carter on here for a while as well. But anyway, that's the concept here. We link back to our website using keywords and keyword phrases that we care about. Okay? Now, and see, you can see there's that example, right? So now, 2 off-page factors. Off-page, again, because they're not things we directly control on our website. Their 2 off-page factors are Google's PageRank from a scale of 0 to 10, and anchor text links, using that anchor text and making sure to vary it up. But here's your action plan for our lesson. Number 1 is I want you to create an SEO calendar, and what that means is determine what page of your website that you're going to start doing SEO work for, and then start doing the on-page factors there, and then build some backlinks to that particular page that you've decided to start with. You could build links via social bookmarking sites, forums, Facebook likes, blogs, different blogs out there, and there's hundreds of ways to build links. And we'll probably do another webinar specifically on link building and how to generate some backlinks to your website. But that's your action plan. Figure out what page you're going to do your SEO for first, and then take that and go through and build a process here to where you have a regular scheduled time to build backlinks. And I don't care what it is. I don't care if it's 100 per day, 100 per week, 100 per month, 1 per day, 1 per week, 1 per month. I don't care. What I do care about is consistency. Far too often people get in this process and they don't stay consistent. They're gung-ho for about a week, right? And hopefully it's longer than that. But they're gung-ho for maybe a month, and then they stop working because they're not seeing results. Well, we said this in the very beginning, and if you haven't watched that intro to SEO, you need to go watch it. SEO is a longer tail process. It's going to take you a little bit longer to do, and so therefore you need to make sure that you stick with it. Consistency, consistency, consistency. So again, your homework assignment is create an SEO calendar, figure out what page you're going to start on, and start building links to that particular page. Okay? And don't forget to go back to Marketing Webinar Training to watch the other webinars on SEO if you haven't done so yet, especially that intro video. Okay? And you'll also want to make sure that you catch the Panda Penguin Factors webinar that we do as well. And so make sure you get registered for those. Thank you so much for being on with us today. I told you I'd try to keep you around that 30-minute mark, and we're just barely getting to it. And so thank you very, very much for being on with us today. I look forward to hopefully having you on another webinar that I do. I don't get to do all the webinars, but I love when I get to come in and teach you how to grow your business via SEO and other marketing techniques. So thanks again for being on this webinar with us today, and we'll see you on the next webinar. Thanks. Have a great day.